All right, good morning, everyone. Good morning to everyone who is on the live feed, and welcome. Dear rabbis, parents, teachers, friends, and students, welcome to the first ever commencement exercises for the New England Jewish Academy, celebrating the graduation of our class of 2020. I'd like to speak for a moment directly to our 8 wonderful seniors. To put it mildly, your graduation will be memorable. I've been to many graduations in my lifetime, and it is hard for me to keep them all apart. I guarantee that everyone watching today will remember your graduation for the rest of their lives. So at least there's that. To say that this has been an unusual, unique, challenging, and difficult year is to understate the obvious. Even at the beginning, this year took on a bit of a different hue. We had middle schoolers in the building for the first time, and your school took on a new name and new logo. You handled the changes with grace and aplomb, foreshadowing the way that you handled the much greater challenges that lay ahead. Pandemic, protests against racial injustice, economic freefall. It has been a most exciting last 3 months of your high school career. And a pessimist would look at the glass as half empty, or even 90% empty. But those with a sunnier outlook can find so many snapshots that reveal the better angels of our nature. Pictures of medical personnel doing their jobs heroically and being cheered by an appreciative public. Pictures of protesters protecting police and police kneeling with protesters. Examples of teenagers volunteering to buy groceries for the elderly or making calls to provide companionship to those who are alone. Teachers turning around their lives to figure out how to educate our children just one day after school closed suddenly. And so many other examples. As a class, you have shown a willingness to help others, whether classmates, senior citizens, or younger children. You give us optimism that the inspiring snapshots can and do include you in them. As we kick off your commencement exercises, I want to give you a bracha that you should look for the inspiring in other people, even when the situation doesn't always look sunny. And that you should continue to make it easy for others to find the inspirational in you. Congratulations, Mazal Tov. Now, let's get the party started.
We begin our program with Rabbi Aaron Skolden leading us in the national anthem and Haktikva.
You hear the guitar? Okay. Oh, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Kol balevav penima nefesh Yehudi omiya ulfate mizrach kadima עין לציון סופיה, עוד לא אבדה תקוותנו, התקווה בת שנות 2000, להיותם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון וירושלים, להיותם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון וירושלים.
We begin our graduate reflections with Moshe Gessen.
Thank you all for attending this graduation. It's so nice to see all of you here. There's so much I want to say about the great things NEJA did and does for me and my classmates. But the memories that stood out to me most vividly when I reflected on my time here were not the memories that I made on campus, as special as they were. Many of my favorite memories from high school came from field trips and school events that didn't happen at the school, but were still extremely representative of the school's greatest attributes. In my first year at NEJA, I was a very socially awkward kid who was very intimidated by the craziness of high school. In my first week here, we went to the Camp Laurelwood retreat. It was a nerve-wracking experience for sure, but I definitely came out of it more comfortable with the new environment and a little more excited about my future at the school. Since then, I've greatly enjoyed each of my 4 retreats at Laurelwood, all of which were amazing starts to my school years. Last November, I was privileged to attend the APAC Schusterman High School Summit in Washington, D.C. with the school's delegation. APAC stands out to me as one of the most unique and meaningful things I've ever done. In Devarim chapter 11, the Torah says, Tamid einei Hashem Elokecha ba, meaning the eyes of God are always upon it, in reference to the land of Israel. The book of Devarim also tells us that we should strive to emulate Hashem to a certain degree and mirror his movements. Just as God is constantly turning his focus to Israel, so too we should be thinking about Israel, what we can do and how we can help if we are not able to live there ourselves. I've been privileged to visit Israel twice, and each time it was incredible in its own way. NEJA's emphasis on loving and helping Eretz Yisrael has had a great impact on me. I'm so grateful to NEJA and Dr. Nabel, Lori, and Batsheva in particular for the work they put in to make that inspiring experience of APAC possible. Seeing that extraordinary display of Jewish pride, Jewish unity, and American activism is something I will remember for a long time. Even the smallest of NEJA events were special to me in their own ways. The trip to Ellis Island that turned into a trip to Liberty Island, all the trips with the soccer and basketball teams on the team buses to and from the games, and yes, even the trip to the American Museum of Tort Law. All these trips, among others, produced memories that I treasure to this day. The camaraderie of the students, the efforts of the faculty, and all the other elements of NEJA's field trips and off-campus events are truly special. In these times, as we've all been banished from campus, it's amazing to me that the school has continued this strong legacy. Online classes have been quite difficult for me, but NEJA found a way to make it a little easier. Rabbi Skoglin's work as student activities director drove him to create spaces for the students to spend time with each other, as well as organizing regular assemblies for the whole school. While it's not quite the same as a real school environment, these efforts are recognized and appreciated. I'd like to thank my parents, siblings, and family for constantly being my support system and helping me in every possible way these 18 years. I'd like to thank the staff and faculty for my 4 years here for supporting this institution and doing whatever was needed for the school. I'd like to thank my schoolmates here for these past 4 years, for all the great memories and incredible friendships I've made. Finally, I'd like to thank Hashem for all the blessings I've been given in these 18 years. As I prepare to leave my mark on the world, I'm highly committed to bringing with me the support, values, and standards that are emphasized by the teachers and staff here. I will strive to make the NEJA community proud at UMass Amherst and beyond.
We continue the reflections with Asaf Gon.
Just hold on one second, everyone. Classmates, family, friends, families of friends, family friends, and all assembled. Thank you for coming to my graduation. As this year's graduation is over Zoom, this speech will be relatively short, and that is in no way due to the fact that I wrote it at the last minute. Bilbo Baggins started his goodbye speech at his 11st birthday with the following phrase: "I don't know half of you half as well as I should like, and I like less than half of you half as well as you deserve." It was followed by confused silence. I think what Bilbo meant is that he did not take the time to make friends with everyone around him. I happily do not share Bilbo's regrets. Unlike Bilbo Baggins, I both know and like all of you, my classmates. Perhaps my favorite aspect of now NEJA, was the size of our class. With a small class size, I not only don't have to lie about everyone knowing everybody's names, but I can say without a doubt that I'm friends with everyone in my class. Over the past 4 years, our class has made a lot of group memories, like unpleasant experiences in a certain Judaics class, or the train wreck that was our freshman class video. I'm glad to say that we're not just a class, but we're also friends. My mom has a book of Jewish proverbs, and as this is a religious institution, I should try to incorporate some of them. Ben Sierra says, "Do not cast out an old friend for a new one." We're all moving on from the school and from each other, and will doubtlessly make many new friends. But we should not forget each other when we are all in our exciting new environments. Call every once in a while, and let's keep the group chat active. Proverbs 11:12 reads, "Baz l'ra'ehu chaser lev." This means, "Who belittles his friend lacks wit." If this is true, I can definitively say that we are all witless fools, based on the amount of banter and playful insults we throw at each other. Nevertheless, you guys are great, and I'll miss all of you in the coming years. I'd like to thank my classmates for putting up with my antics, shenanigans, and tomfoolery over the past 4 years. I'd like to thank the administration for letting me get away with all of my antics. I'd like to thank my brothers for going off to college and not distracting me while I do my homework, and my parents for reminding me to do my homework. Thank you, Fred, for being a friendly face every morning when I walk in the door. Even though we aren't in the building itself, I'd like to give a shout out to Paul for all the hard work he does in maintaining the building. I can't end this speech in the exact manner as Bilbo Baggins ended his, but over Zoom, I can come close. Goodbye.
We continue our reflections with Moshe Koenigsberg.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for being here to help celebrate with me and my fellow classmates. I never thought I'd say this, but I've been spending way too much time on my computer. I can't count the times when I was in school and would just sit in the library between classes, eyes glued to the screen, headphones attached to my ears, immersed in some TV show or YouTube clip, oblivious to those around me. Now, all I want to do is to be able to just experience being present in school, to walk down the halls, and to be able to sit and be connected, hanging out with my classmates. I believe that my growth as a student and as a human is in no small part thanks to my classmates. There is a beautiful story from the Talmud which speaks to the importance of friendship in a person's life. In this story, the legendary Choni HaMa'agel wakes up from 70 years of sleep and despairs because a new generation of scholars does not recognize him and pays no attention to him. Choni prays for death to release him from loneliness. The Talmud then comments, O chavruta, o mituta, which translates to either friendship or death. I have heard it said that sometimes people come into your life for a moment, a day, or a lifetime. It matters not the time they spent with you, but how they impacted your life in that time. You, my fellow classmates, have impacted my life in so many positive ways. Asaf, I admire your ability to balance your lighthearted silliness and your mature perspective in class. Aaron, I credit you to getting me interested in physical fitness and calisthenics, and I appreciate that. Geese, I've enjoyed how we could always talk about sports and you would fully understand what I'm saying. Shoshana, I appreciate how you can always be relied upon to include an element of empathy into any debate or argument. Nahum, thank you for consistently making school fun and entertaining for me. From our early days in elementary school, you've been a reliable friend. Brian, your dedication is amazing, and I can't count the times you have helped me with my schoolwork when I felt overwhelmed. And Kirill, I greatly admire how you turned yourself around academically this year and how you have become a high honor student. I really respect that. I have learned something from all of you, and I only wish I had time to learn more. I would now like to thank some of the faculty members who have gone above and beyond for me. Thank you to Mrs. Page for being my college advisor. You have helped keep me focused throughout my college search, and you were a tremendous help. Mr. Riley, thank you for creating a classroom atmosphere that was relaxing, but that also challenged us to expand our way of thinking. There's that famous reply that Bartleby the Scrivener gives to everyone who asks him to do something. He says, "I'd prefer not to." I will always cherish and use that quote as much as I can throughout my life. Dr. Nabel, thank you for being willing to make all those canteen shopping runs. Thank you for always being there for the students during the school's difficult transition period as someone the students could always come to talk to about any problems they had. And thank you for all you've done for me and the school these past 4 years. Thank you to all the teachers and staff that I've had the privilege of being around during my time in high school. I appreciate your caring attitudes and dedication to the students. And finally, I'd like to thank my family. Thank you, Ima and Abba, for always motivating for me to do my work, even when I would vehemently protest. If not for you two, I don't think I would have graduated high school. I have you two to thank for everything in my life, and I love you both. Thank you, Batya, for being my closest confidant, my guide through high school, and my closest companion for the last 17 years. Thank you, Olivia, for being an amazing role model for myself and Batya. We both look up to you, and I'm so happy that we have become much closer. And thank you to all my extended family who have taken the time out of their day to tune in to my graduation. I'm sorry I couldn't celebrate with you in person, but I'm sure we'll see each other very soon. Thank you all, Kol Tuv, and all the best.
We continue reflections with Nachum Levitan.
I know how ordinary and natural this day is to most of you, but to me, I never thought it would happen. I thought I was going to go to yeshiva, then study at Zal, get a degree, get a wife, then do something in business, live the average Chabad life. But fate stirred this matzo ball soup of a life in a different direction. I did go to yeshiva. The first one was in a basement in Muncie, New York. We were given laptops, and I had my flip phone, and I thought I hit the jackpot. In just 2 months, I left because I tried to be somebody I wasn't. After that, I had the option of HHNU or another yeshiva in Muncie, but I didn't want to wake up at 6 a.m. every day, so I went to another yeshiva, a Hasidish one. The yeshiva was 2 blocks away from the other, but it felt like another world. I was one of 6 students, and we were taught math once a week. I knew I did not belong there, and after 3 months, I left. Then after another one in Pennsylvania, my mother, my sister Nachi, and I chose this place. In my application, I was asked to write an essay on a character from the Tanakh whom I admire, and explain why I've chosen him or her. So I wrote about Yehudis and how she killed a Greek general to save her fellow Jews. I talked about how she was brave and did what she could when nobody else would. At the time when I was writing this, it was just a story to talk about, an essay, and nothing more. But now it resonates with me. In some ways, I think I have been brave when I didn't think I could. I remember in freshman year, I was talking with a junior whom I confided in about my being gay. I told him that one day I'll make an announcement after davening and just come out to the whole school. But through me just being me, it became obvious that I am gay, and technically I am accomplishing this freshman mission right now. I told my mother on December 8th, 2016, the night of the school's annual gala in my freshman year. It was something I never felt. I felt like that moment in a movie when a superhero has to believe in himself, and when he does, he is truly powerful. And I felt truly powerful. After that, I came out to all my siblings and developed this confidence I never knew existed. With the confidence I developed, I created 2 clubs in the school, a sign language club and a book club. I found sign language because I love music, but when I sing, I sound like a dying hippopotamus. And so I found another way to express myself without bursting people's eardrums. I found books because of Yehuda Meyer, who gave me a 400-page book and said, read this. No, it wasn't Little Women or The Master and Margarita. It was Needful Things by Stephen King. It took me half a year in a summer, but I read it and then put myself through 5 months of reading the 1,138-page book, It. I love books, trust me. My bank statements will tell you the same thing, and yes, I know, libraries. Reading inspired me to make a school book club, and this year, this club has read books from The Handmaid's Tale to Pride and Prejudice, and all I can say is that I'm so proud of us. Through pizza and love of certain characters, we stuck together and read our hearts out. I'll take the traits from Yehudis and be brave. I'll take the knowledge from the classes. I'll take the little lessons between the classes, and I'll take the memories from it all. I want to thank Batsheva for being an endless source of support. I want to thank Corinne for always keeping a smile on my face. I'd like to thank Dr. Nabel, who always helped me with my clubs. I want to thank Mr. and Mrs. Page for giving me humor and love in my days of being here. I want to thank my fellow students for a very interesting 4 years. I also want to give special thanks to my boarding family. The word love only restricts the love I have for all of you. Just by remembering the thick and thin takes my breath away. For I don't know where I would be today without you guys. I want to thank my family for giving me support through the years. I love you guys, and specifically to my sister Kenya, who's everything a little brother can ask for. Thank you, and thank you all for listening.
At this time, it's my honor to present 4 scholarships. The Edlin Blitzer Honorary Award for Excellence in General Studies and High Integrity goes to Brian Silberman.
Yay!
Yay! Congratulations!
Super.
Yay!
The Rebbitzin Cohen Award for Excellence in Judaic Studies and a dedication to study in Israel goes to Asaf Glan.
Where'd you go? Thank you.
You're still on mute, by the way.
Yay!
I am muted.
There are 2 Rosenblatt Awards for Midot Tovot, or good character, and being helpful to classmates and teachers. And they go to Shoshana Olkin and Nachum Levitan. We now continue our graduate reflections with Kirill Nanadovich.
Today is a monumental and momentous day for all its graduates. It is the day we leave behind our legacies and our studious efforts to move on to a new chapter in our lives, a chapter where we will still put our studious efforts to the test, but on a much larger scale. However, when we leave our legacies behind, we also bring our memories of the place we have all gone to for the past 4 years with us, a place we can comfortably call our home. When I first came to HH&E, I did not know how I would fit in. I figured I would have to show my best self and not make any mistakes, or Dr. Nabel would come and hunt me down. I thought that I would have to grow up and really mature in order to spend time with everyone, but I soon realized that I did not have to be someone or do anything, and that the HH&E community would welcome me right in. And just like that, 4 long years passed by so quickly. Some of my favorite memories come from HH&E, from taking charge of my soccer team as captain and traveling to different schools to play matches, to directing and acting in my film production for Clash of the Classes, to carrying my color war team to victory during junior year, as well as going to our nation's capital to experience the amazing American Israel Public Affairs Committee program, also known as APAC. All these memories resonate a positive and gleeful past that I'm so thankful to have experienced. I'm very thankful for my friends and classmates for always being there, even those who have left throughout the years. I'm thankful for the teachers and faculty for providing us with the Jewish environment and education we deserve. I'm thankful for my mother, who would always push me to do more and motivate me. But most importantly, I am thankful for Hashem, who gave me this wonderful opportunity to come to the land of the free and to be the first in my family to be able to receive a college degree. Thank you. I would like to end this graduation speech by sharing some advice and knowledge from the wise King Solomon, who said, "A righteous man falls down 7 times and gets up," found in Proverbs chapter 24, verse 16. I believe that this is an important statement because it not only teaches us to not give up when we face a challenge and then overcome it, but to also persevere no matter how many times we have fallen and succeeded, as it may be easy to overcome a challenge once and not do the same for the challenges ahead of us.
We continue our reflections with Shoshana Olkin.
Throughout the last 4 years, my view of the world has changed. I have always struggled with anxiety. I've had a certain image of myself as that quiet girl who stands in the background and doesn't really make a difference. Sophomore year, I decided to change that. With help from my parents, my teachers, and my mentors, I've been able to change the things I most wanted about myself. To be honest, it was really hard. I started to come up with ways to reduce my anxiety. I started to look at myself differently. I slowly started to feel less afraid of what people thought of me and more empowered to speak out about my opinions. At the end of junior year, I ran for student council, and that was the first time I'd ever given a speech that I truly liked. After that, I started to feel more comfortable with public speaking. When I was asked to give the Devar Torah at my show, I gladly accepted. After I was done, I felt that people I had looked up to for the last 5 years were starting to think of me as an adult. That was one of the best feelings in the world. This past summer, I was accepted into a volunteer program in the IDF. My grandparents and I went to Israel for a total of 5 weeks, 2 weeks for touring and 3 weeks for IDF work. The base we were assigned to was a medical supplies base. This means that all the work we did revolved around medical supplies. We got medical supplies in bags, had to empty them out, sort them into different piles, and then we bagged the contents exactly how they came. We did this day after day. We unpacked and we packed. We unpacked and we packed. We unpacked and we packed. Slowly, I came to learn that I am a creature of habit. I like routine. Living on the base and having a set schedule really worked for me. Though I had an amazing time, the first 2 weeks in Israel were very hard for me. I felt very homesick. Even though I was in this amazing land with people I loved dearly, all I wanted to do was to be back home with my family. We spent the first Shabbat in Tzfat. We got to our hotel much later than we thought we would, so we didn't have very much time to cook or shop for Shabbat. Thankfully, the owners of the hotel were extremely nice and brought up some food of their own. They then drove us to the closest supermarket and waited until we had bought everything that we needed. Friday night was the usual. We went to shul, we went back to our hotel, we ate dinner, and we went to bed. On Saturday morning, we woke up late and didn't have time to go to shul. After breakfast, my grandfather went inside and prayed. After he was done, I asked if I could use his prayer book. I had nothing else to do, so I thought I might as well pray. I spent about 2 hours reading all of the prayers in English. I can't even start to describe how amazing I felt. I felt like I understood the emotion behind every single word. That one Shabbat changed my entire life. I felt like I could talk to God about anything and God would understand. I felt a connection between me and all of my ancestors. I felt like I really started to understand what it means to fear God. In A Letter of the Ages, the Ramban writes to his son, "Through humility you will also come to fear God. It will cause you to always think about where you come from and where you are going." This quote is one I wish to live by for the rest of my life. When I started at this school, I felt that I didn't really have a Jewish identity. Even though I had attended Jewish day school all of my life, I had always just gone through the motions without knowing why. NEJA has helped me to figure out who I am. I am a Jewish woman. I am a Torah-loving, music-playing, damn good poet who is standing in front of all of you, ready to proceed to the next part of my life. Each experience I've ever had has brought me to this moment. I'm ready to put my full belief in God to help me through my ever-evolving life. First of all, I want to thank every one of my family members and friends for being by my side every single day. Next, I want to thank Mr. Page for inspiring me to be the person I always wanted to be. I want to thank my parents for helping me to see my true potential. I want to thank Mr. Riley for helping me to understand what it means to be true to oneself. I want to thank Rabbi Skoglund for teaching me to embrace who I am. Thank you, Mr. Lerman and Ms. Lorenzo, for helping me to develop my true love of math. Thank you, Mr. Rennock, for helping me to get through all those grueling hours of work. Thank you, Mindy, for being someone I can talk to about anything. I want to thank my Grandpa Len and Savta Sue for, of course, taking me to Israel, but also for having me over at your house whenever staying at home seems too normal. Thank you, Papa Bob, for teaching me all about the weather and especially for teaching me about how to measure a snowfall. Thank you, Jan, for being such an amazing and caring woman in my life. I want to thank my sisters for being my trusted co-conspirators. And last but not least, I want to thank every single person in the office for putting up with me coming in at odd hours of the day just to talk, and especially to Dr. Nabel for providing me with both chocolate and daily laughs. I want to end my speech with another quote from a letter of the ages. Of what should a man be prideful? If he has wealth, it is God who makes one prosperous. And if honor, does honor not belong to God?
We continue our reflections with Brian Silberman.
So I'm going to be doing my thank yous first so that I can get them out of the way and make sure that I don't forget anybody. So first, to Dr. Nabel. This is probably the most important thank you of all. Thank you for helping me to get the needed accommodations for completing my work so that I wouldn't drown in all of it. I wouldn't have done nearly as well as I did without your help. Thank you so much again. To my teachers in general, thank you for understanding when I needed extensions to hand in work, and for understanding, most of the time, that work may have been late or incomplete due to assignments from other teachers. Now to some specific teachers. To Mrs. Page, thank you for helping me with the college process. We both know it was really hard, and I still do not know how I ended up being able to do it, but I know that I never would have been able to get through it without your help. Thank you so much again. To Mr. Page, during my sophomore year English class, we took a quarter-long break from the normal curriculum to learn about English grammar. I know it was off topic, but it is actually one of the things that I remember the most when I leave HHNE. I still think about how we learned about the different parts of speech in that class, even now. This makes me think more deeply about how the English language works. Thank you again. To Rabbi Fried, thank you for introducing to me a way to learn Jewish commentaries, especially on the Talmud, in a way that gives me a greater understanding of Jewish ideas. This makes me appreciate learning Talmud and Jewish commentaries more. To Rabbi Skoglund, thank you for being so chill all the time. Thank you for understanding and listening to us when we complain about our problems to you. Oh, and thank you for always having the best life stories. I really do think you should make a Netflix miniseries about your childhood experiences. And finally, to my mom, thank you for always pushing me to do my work, even when I complain. For explaining to me that even if I do not want to do my work, the sooner I do it, the sooner it will be done and I can move on from it. Thank you for always listening to me complain about my problems with school, for always pushing me to go to school, even when every morning I complained, but do I really have to go to school though? And most importantly, thank you for always being a loving and caring mother and supporting me in all that I do. Thank you so much again. And now to the main part of my speech. For those of you who don't know, my senior quote in the yearbook is, "You can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf," by John Kabat-Zinn. John Kabat-Zinn is a professor emeritus at the University of Massachusetts Medical School, and he founded the Center for Mindfulness in Medicine, Healthcare, and Society, and founded the Stress Reduction Clinic, both at the University of Massachusetts Medical School. So back to my quote. My quote can apply literally, as in the case of our HHNE has had 4 and almost 5 floods. My freshman year, there was the first, and now sometimes called the big, flood. Just like World War I was originally called the Great War, this was originally just called the flood, but both ended up being wrong names. With this flood, we were out of school for 4 days, and midterms were canceled. That was excellent. Everybody loved that. Students in every grade got to write their names on the library floor before the carpet was put in. But there were consequences to this too. The shul was moved into the gym. The entire first floor, besides for the gym and the commons, was not usable. All of our classes were upstairs. We could not come in the front door. We had to go through the gym in the morning. Then we had to go back outside in the cold and the snow of the winter, under covered scaffolding, most of the time. One part blew off in the wind and never got put back on. All this to go to the main front door, to go to the front steps, to the second floor. And it was the same deal when going from classes to lunch. And this flood is actually the theme of our yearbook this year, so look out for that. Then my sophomore year, we had the second flood. A pipe burst in the wall between the shul and the commons, but there was no school missed, sadly. The shul was moved back into the gym, and the shul was redone again. Then we had the third flood about 2 weeks later. They'd taken out the insulation from the wall to better see the damage of the second flood, but they forgot to put the insulation back in afterwards, and other pipes froze overnight and burst. We missed 1 day of school for this. During my junior year, we had the fourth flood. With this flood, the gym flooded a little bit when it rained really heavily, but it wasn't that bad. They just squeegeed the water out and everything was fine again. That brings us to my senior year. But Sheva told me that there was almost a fifth flood when the boiler broke sometime soon after school ended one Friday in the beginning of January. Paul, our custodian, had to come back to school at about 7:00 a.m. Saturday and caught it before anything was really affected very badly. If only during all these floods we had the ability to be like Noah in the Torah and make for ourselves an ark of gopher wood, like God told Noah to do in Bereshit 6:14. Maybe that would have helped the school recover more quickly. My quote can also apply metaphorically to my high school career. And no, I don't just mean coasting through high school and not actually doing anything. I mean that HH&E gives a lot of homework, and it can be hard to keep up sometimes. I experienced this firsthand my sophomore year. I had a lot of work, and I had trouble keeping up, so I fell very far behind. There was one point, and I'm not exaggerating, where I had 13 assignments due on one day because of all of my overdue assignments, plus my normal homework assignments that are always assigned. These can be thought of as waves coming at you, and you can't stop them. However, this is an example of how helpful and accommodating the school can be when a student is in need of assistance. I met with Dr. Nabel, who was vice principal at the time and the general studies director, Rabbi Fried, who was my grade advisor at the time, Angela, who was the school social worker at the time, Mr. Rennock, who was the learning center director, my mom, and my Aunt Carolyn to talk about all my problems with my homework. I was able to speak up for myself, which impressed all the adults present, and I was able to plead my case. After getting the needed accommodations from the school, I fared much better in my classes. I couldn't stop the waves of homework, even though I may have wanted to, but I learned to survive the waves. I learned to surf. Thank you.
We complete our graduate reflections with Aaron Snyder.
Thank you everyone for watching my graduation. During my time here, I have learned the importance of having discipline. It is essential for making improvement. When I started off as a freshman, I was not a serious student. I did not try hard and I would miss assignments, which was reflected in my grades. Then I decided I wanted to improve. At first, I would simply have temporary phases of getting serious, which did not last long and would not help much. Then I realized if I wanted to make real improvement, I would always have to work hard, even when I was not feeling motivated. Through discipline and time, my school performance improved. I've seen the results of discipline, not only in academics, but in other areas as well. While running the fitness club, I've had the privilege of seeing people improve. Yes, they had a coach, but ultimately, they were the ones that put in the work. They were not always in the mood to work out, but they did it anyways. They were not always in the mood to push hard, but they chose to anyways. They had discipline, and through their discipline, they got stronger. I've learned that discipline is essential for improvement, but that it is also important to remember to enjoy the present. Here is my advice to the students. Balance working hard and preparing for the future with enjoying life now and creating good memories. I will always cherish the memories I have from my time at HH&E. I'm going to miss being a part of Question of the Day on the West Hartford bus. I'm going to miss having pickup games of basketball every lunch. I'm going to miss playing soccer with Kirill and others in the middle of class. I'm going to miss hanging out with all my friends. One of the benefits of being in the small school is that it is one tight community where you create strong relationships with the people around you. I'm going to miss being a part of this community, and I'm going to miss everyone. There are many people who have helped me become who I am today. I want to thank all my friends, family, teachers, and faculty. There are some who I would like to give special recognition to. Thank you, Dr. Leichberg. Your classes, especially physics, was the most interesting class I've had throughout school, and I learned a lot in your classes. Thank you, Lori Zakin. I feel that I have really changed as a result of your class. You provided an atmosphere where we could debate about controversial topics. This was crucial in helping me improve my confidence and ability to articulate my opinion. Thank you, Mr. Riley. You helped me look for the deeper understanding of what I read, and to understand how what I read relates to our society. While I am not sure if I will ever master the ability to understand poetry, I will certainly not write it off as pointless. And in the future, when I come across a poem, I will try my best to understand it. Also, I am always going to try to live by the quote you showed me by Thomas Pynchon, "Keep cool, but care." Thank you, Rabbi Skoglund. I have always been proud to be Jewish, but I have not always been able to feel a connection to God or see the spiritual value in certain things. For example, I learned that Shabbos is not simply a day about rules, but it's also an opportunity to focus on God and our relationship with the people around us. This is an example of something I've learned in your class, which has helped me to become more aware of having a relationship with God. Thank you, Mr. W. I know it's been 4 years since I had your gym class, but it has had a lasting impact on me. Aside from remembering all the fun, there are more important things I realize I've learned, such as the value of teamwork, not giving up, and trying my hardest. Thank you, Dr. Nabel. You do so much for this school. You have always been easy to communicate with and very supportive. Thank you for picking me up from the class I took at UHart, and thank you for getting the equipment and allowing me to start the fitness club. Most of all, I want to thank my family. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for raising me the way you have and for sending me to. I remember when I was younger and I hated reading, and you would make me read 30 minutes a day, and I hated it. But over time, it became way easier. I want to thank you for all those times throughout my life that you pushed me to do certain things even though I did not want to do them. I also want to thank you for the times you let me make my own decisions so that I would learn to take responsibility for my own actions. I couldn't have asked for better parents to raise me. To my older sister, Ariella, thank you for putting up with me. If you can put up with me, you can put up with anyone. Thank you for some of the interesting, thought-provoking conversations that we have at the dinner table. You are a role model as someone who is very creative and always has an interest in learning. It is nice to have you back at home. To my older brother, Benjamin, I know I have not always admitted it, but you have had a major influence on who I am. You have always been someone I look up to, and I've learned from you more than I realize. You taught me how to do many things, such as wrestle, soccer, and basketball, but you have also taught me to be independent and make my own decisions, and not rely on others to do things for me. Also, you are a lot of fun to hang out with, and I hope you will be able to visit soon. During my time at HH&E, I've learned many things. The time I had at HH&E was a very special one, and will always be with me wherever I go throughout my life. While my time at HH&E is done, the experiences I had will continue to be with me, always in the back of my mind, no matter where I go in life.
At this time, Rabbi Jeremias will present the Sidurim to the graduates.
Good morning. Graduates, I offer the following blessing. O Heavenly Father, may our graduates always find words of comfort and joy in the Sidurim that they are about to receive. O Lord, bestow goodness, blessing, kindness, righteousness, safety, and peace upon our beloved graduates and all those who are gathered here with us today. Heavenly Father, shine your countenance upon our graduates, and may it be good in your eyes to bless our graduates at all times and in every hour of need. And let us say, Amen. And now I would like to present the presents to the graduates. Moshe Gessen.
Thank you.
Asaf Glan. Moshe Konigsberg. Nachum Levitan. Kirill Nanadovich. Shoshana Olkin. Brian Silberman. Aaron Snyder. Mazel tov to you all.
Rabbi Aaron Skoglin and Mrs. Heather Page will present the graduates with their diplomas.
Of course, this goes along with a virtual shake of the hand and a hug. So feel the love. Mazel tov. Moshe Gessen. Mazel tov, mazel tov.
Thank you.
Next, Asaf Glan.
Yay! Yay!
Our student council president, Moshe Konigsberg. Mazal tov. Nahum Levitan. Mazel tov.
Aw.
Kirill Nenadovich. Mazal tov, Kirill.
Shoshana Olkin. Congratulations, darling.
Betzalel Brian Silberman. Mazal tov. Woohoo. And Aaron Snyder. Mazel tov.
At this time, Moshe Koenigsberg, Student Council President, will lead the graduates in the turning of the tassel.
Am I giving that, or is Asaf giving that?
You are. Just go right to left. Actually, why don't we do Asaf, Andy, because really you guys were like co-presidents. So Asaf and Moshe, would you turn the tassel? And all the graduates. It's official. Mr. Ed Riley, member of the English department, will now present the charge to the class.
Graduates, good morning. One of my favorite chapters from Moby Dick is a chapter called The Monkey Rope. After the crew has killed a whale and tied it to the side of the ship, Queequeg, as the harpooner on one of the whaleboats, has to stand on the whale and carve off the blubber for processing. Ishmael, as the first rower on Queequeg's whaleboat, stands on the ship and is tethered to Queequeg by what is called a monkey rope. It's a powerful image. A whaling ship with a whale nearly the size of the ship it is bound to is floating in a sea with no points of reference but water. Initially, Ishmael is upset by the risk he must take because now his fate is tied to Queequeg's, literally. But the risks are mutual, Queequeg having taken the first one by harpooning the whale, and it becomes clear that the only bearings Ishmael and Queequeg have in this watery world are those they give each other. The lesson is compelling. No points of reference but water. When we feel lost or confused or in any way unmoored to what we once thought was solid ground, it is our connections to each other that guide us. It is the monkey ropes that attach us, our concern and care and love for each other that preserve us. And whatever we do, it should be guided by that love. Neglecting those connections is what dooms Ahab and the people under his care. It is the connection between Ishmael and Queequeg that keeps Ishmael from being lost by Ahab's pursuit of an answer that cannot be had. This is why in our stories, the hero returns. The return is an acknowledgement that the original quest serves, and that's the key word, serves, the connections that tether and define the hero. The hero, in turn, teaches us how to love each other better. It's harder than it sounds. It is challenging when all those ropes pull us in different directions. Harder than calculating the area under a curve. But it is possible to do it better. And doing it better is the most important thing your parents and teachers have been teaching you all that time you thought they were only talking about mitochondria or federalism or differentials or making your bed. They were also doing the heroic work of teaching you to love each other better. They were expanding your vocabularies and helping you to tell stories that gather those ropes, helping you to see connections that are hidden, even when that complicates your life and affects your plans. It's all right, you are up to it. Like Ishmael, go to sea when you need to address the dreary Novembers of your soul. Go to sea when you feel you're neglecting something important and need time to reflect and listen, but hold tight to your monkey ropes. Hold tight to each other, even when the form that takes entails keeping your distance, covering half of your face, and missing each other. We will miss you. Graduates, you are ready, and we are proud of you.
Dr. Nabel, I think someone crashed our party.
What's going on?
We decided to crash the party to wish all of the graduates of 2020 a huge mazel tov. We miss you, but we're so happy for you.
Ready, and we are proud of you.
Dr. Nabel, I think someone crashed our party.
What's going on?
We decided to crash the party to wish all of the graduates of 2020 a huge mazel tov. We miss you.
Dr. Nabel, I think someone crashed our party.
What's going on?
All of the graduates of 2020.
To 2020.
Woohoo! Can't keep that faculty away. Unbelievable. Your program says that I will give parting words to end the ceremony. That's incorrect because we're not parting, we're merely pausing. To part is to separate, to divide or break into parts, or to take leave of someone. We are not separating or dividing into individual parts because you are part of a community that never divides. You are part of a long list of graduates who have become another stitch in the fabric of our school. Each year when June comes around, you'll think back to the passing of the rock at our end of the year ceremony. You will probably not remember what sage words of advice you gave to the underclass students, but you will visualize that gathering and the classmates who encircled you with love and caring. There will be countless memories, too many to list, but they will be with you for the rest of your lives. I won't say goodbye because goodbye is for parting. I will say, take a deep breath and reflect because that's what we do when we pause. Mazel tov to the class, NEJA class of 2020.
Mazel tov.
This concludes our ceremony, and you're all welcome to stay on.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov, mazel tov.
Congratulations, everybody.